Check, 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 check. Bum, dum, bum, dum, bum, dum, 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 bum, 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 dum, bum, bum, dum, dum, bum, dum, Won't you love me when I'm around? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Wonder if you love me when I'm around. What up? What up, everybody? Let me get this going. I wonder what I'm around. That's gonna be a song. Fuck that. That's gonna be dope. I wonder if you love me when I'm gone. I wonder what I'm doing wrong. You know, hold up. Let me record this real quick. Let me not play around. Because I will lose this. And I don't want to do that there. So give me 1 second, y'all. This is impromptu. I was not planning to do this, but this track is dope, and I need to put it down while I got it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Wonder if you love me when I'm gone. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wonder if you love me when I'm gone. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wonder if you love me when I'm gone. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wonder if you love me when I'm around. When I'm gone. Boop. And that's how you make music. Bow. All right, what's going on, everybody? All right. Let me put this in the Discord. There's gonna be mad people that's gonna miss that. There. Woo! That's because you didn't subscribe, so you missed it. Hope you catch it in the replay. All right, let me get this out. I should have done that beforehand, but that track is in my head, man. It's in my head. In my head, balls in my head. Hey. All right, now let me do what I was supposed to be doing. My 100th episode. Oh, what? You know, the 100th episode, and a ninja gave you a preview of how the next level ish is coming out of ToxicHustle. For real. we's not playing out on these streets. So you're gonna have to catch that on the replay, homie. So now let me put that out there. And let me do that on my Twitter as well. Why not? Why not do something new? Yeah, no? Why not do something new? You know mine. Control Z. What did I just do? I did not do. Hold on. What did I do? I did not want to do that. Give me a second, y'all. Damn it, man. Damn it. First things first, man. You F with the worst. I'll be sticking pins in your head like a nurse. All right, so go Twitter, Senor TrajicK, and let people know I'm live and direct. I'm calling them dips. Let me go ahead and do a tweet, man, and say we live out on these streets. You know, as know, we live on these streets. And I think that's all I'm gonna say. Bow. Oh, well, I guess I should, hit the damn tweet, man. Hit the damn tweet. Booyah. All right. What up, everybody? Welcome to ToxicHustle. My name is TrajicK Jeffrey. And if you are just catching up with us, I improved how I'm going to be rolling out these songs for my next album. How I'm getting this stuff in my head, out of my head faster. Like I got my workflow together. Shout out to my boy Johnny Streams. I got to talk to him this week. Big shout out. Big homie is gonna still be riding with a nigga. So a lot is gonna be going on. ToxicHustle's got some great stuff coming up now. We're in the process of launching the membership side of the website. Shout out to Webflow. I've got some things that I just gotta figure out on how I'm doing the back end membership side and getting the profile images and loading them up and getting profile. Like this weekend is basically getting profile set up and then putting the initial content out. So, all right, got this link out here. And when it all falls down. Did I post it in the Discord? Did I post? Yes, I did. Okie dokie. Cool. So, my name is TrajicK Jeffrey. Welcome to ToxicThoughts. This is where I pretty much dump my brain on the internet and kind of let you know what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what I'm seeing. Because, I do a lot of research. Lots. I sit studying. Like right now, it's been a lot of economic info. Because I've got to make business decisions for the corporation. These moves that I'm making, they have to make sense. And part of what I'm doing, why I'm doing this discussion in a public manner, is one, transparency for how we're doing business. But number two, to be able to show you transparently that whatever I'm doing and however I'm phrasing it, best believe that this is what it is. When I'm telling you that we're in the beginning of a new media industry, please understand this is a new media industry. There is nothing physical that we as a populace can create anymore. The need for things is pretty much done. The need for experiences, the need for emotion, the need for commentary that isn't like just sweltered in BS. Political correctness. Like we've gotten to become this because we as a people are piggybacking off of our own oligarchic system. We're watching these people who have become our quote unquote idols, and what we've seen out of them, we're now emulating this virus. right? And this is where toxic hustle comes from. It's like this toxicity of how we had to do business. And what I was seeing was a change in that. The fact that we were going to be digital, the fact that when Napster came out, I was able to put my content in front of a listening audience and let the people decide whether or not my music was dope or not. Like we get away from the what the industry was supposed to mean, what the business was supposed to mean, what uh, a music company was supposed to do for you. Now I'm saying you don't need a label. Like that's pretty much blah. Everybody can be a label. Just reason why is because anybody can be a producer. See, there was an entry point to this game. You had to buy so much hardware, and with the entrance of like MTV Generator and then FL Studio when it was back when it was called Fruity Loops, anybody with a computer of a moderate, decent capacity can make beats. You could get your homeboy's old laptop and boom, now you're making music. Okay, so what would have to happen when you had a saturation of new music, which is lowering the price points of what we can deliver as producers, right? So at one time, you could charge $25,000 for a beat, $6,000 for a beat. You think in the next five, like, let's say 3 to 5 years, you're going to be able to get off with that? No. So the entire time, what I've been doing the last few years, the research that basically what Toxic Hustle's research has been, hey, okay, me being the strategist, the chief strategy officer, my job is to say, all right, how do we make money? Like we're a media company, how do we make money? Okay, we can create commercials, we can put commercials online, we can do exactly the same thing that television does. All right, so if you see CBS, NBC, ABC, I've been saying to my friends, shout out to Johnny Streams and Ty Durden. I've been saying to my homeboy, shout out to GBC and Phantom Loke. You know, everybody, EJ, shout out. Everybody has heard this from me. Hey, I think in a few years we're going to be pivoting into a brand new paradigm. I believe we're going to shift our entire media to a digital forefront. And when it becomes a digital commodity, there's going to be some type of advertising platform or some type of situation where you're going to move your media through it and it's going to just sprinkle out revenue. I know it sounds crazy, but I just figured if you look at the long term, it might take another 10, and it did. I mean, since Mike and everybody, when I was in Macon, I mean, that was 2005, 6. So we're talking, say, 26, 7, 8, shit. Hold on. Let me see. Let's do some math. I'm horrible at that, so pardon me, y'all, because I gotta pull this out. 2022. And let's say 6. 16 years, my dude. 16 years is how long it's taken to get to this point. For 16 years, I've done work for a couple more corporations. I've worked at a couple more Fortune 500 companies because music didn't have a monetary system besides buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. There's only so much that a person you can buy. And then there was a pivot where people didn't want to, you're not gonna, like, they weren't buying downloads. I mean, yeah, they were, but not really. So I already figured when this streaming thing would come up that as long as you got to a distributor where you could get your streaming royalties, then that's all that mattered. And I would just focus on the companies that could do that. So one of the companies that I found, I'm not gonna name them, was where I first started really promoting myself and getting myself moving forward with my music. And then now the second one that I've been on is CD Baby. And with this, there's a strategy that I'm doing, which I'll talk about towards the end. There's a strategy that I'm doing that has allowed me to just make residuals. And I don't have to think about anything but how do I use my content? So it's changed my whole philosophy of how I do business now. Because I say, okay, here's my distributor. My distributor's taking my catalog and is finding for it profitable investment. That's like the richest man in Babylon type beats. If you haven't read that book, I suggest you read the book so that you can just get an understanding of the mentality of taking money or taking your assets and finding profitability for them. You have assets, you have liabilities. Your content is an asset. And in this quote unquote digital age, yes, there's going to be this whole VR and AR, all that ish is coming. But before we can even get there, we have to get the core of your content, whatever you create, has to be monetizable to go to that next step. So all that other ish is hopium until Web 2.0 locks it down and you have a cash flow system built in Web 2.0 that's consistent. Once you have that, then Web 3.0 and all that other fancy ish will have something to piggyback off, because then the ledger just says we have a locked in value that these machines are all saying we have consensus on. So before we can get to consensus, let's get the economy or the commerce locked up. And that's what I'm focused on for my business. Now, services are the first thing that you can do online to earn money. Services. MySpace era, I did MySpace layouts for artists. I would charge them $25 and I do about an hour and a half to 2 hours worth of work on their graphics. I could get X amount of clients per week and I was able to get that to PayPal. I'd have a debit card. I could swipe. I could go to Church's Chicken to eat because it was close. This is when I was homeless. This is when after I got locked up and I lost everything. Your life can change in an instant. And then when it does, it's your ability to earn. That's what the Most High has blessed me to be able to see. That when I was stripped. So when everybody has this spirit of fear about not having, please understand, you have to just have an economy, mind state. I was stripped. I lost everything. I lost my home. I had to stay at my homeboy's house. Shout out to Mike for doing that for a nigga. And then after I did that, I was able to, while I was there, I was able to go online, get revenue to come in through and then go down to Church's Chicken. I was right down the street from him and swipe my card and eat. That's the simplicity of this. Right? So services off rip you can do. And then your secondary is how you create some type of residual, passive income. Well, you create an online site, you put up a download, you make an e-commerce, and you be able to transact and make those transactions. And then you need some type of like consistency with that. So you can charge some type of subscriptions, create some type of class, teach. Everything that I'm telling you is exactly what Toxic Hustle is and what we're doing. We eat our own dog food, and our dogs eat our own food. Right? If it's good enough for you, it should be good enough for them. And if it's good enough for them, it should be good enough for you. That's how you treat your business. And most businesses don't do that. They create a product outside of themselves and think that they're just going to benefit in that software or whatever technology it is, but they're not thinking about it for themselves. Is why when I went to certain corporations, certain startups that I was at, and I was their web developer, and then, you know, when times got hard, like right before 2015, things got hard. Right, 2014, 2015, things were drying out. Businesses were drying out. Businesses were beginning to collapse. This whole Rona thing just hid a collapse that was already happening. I saw it because I was in the venture capital space watching venture capital dry up. And I don't think people get it. We were already in a market collapse. We were already having liquidity issues. We were already seeing inflation because cash was flowing and interest rates were low. They'd say, "Oh, we're trying to spur the economy." It already was falling. You can only keep spurring it for so long. And that's what they've been doing. They keep saying it. We didn't understand what the phrasing meant when they said kick the can down the road. They've been kicking that can down the road forever to having to deal with this monetary phenomenon that they were dealing with. Right? So what we're doing as a business, I'm telling you our strategies and what I do with the news and everything else just kind of solidify why we're doing it. Like, here's everything that I've been seeing. And then I try to just condense it really fast and then let y'all see what I see. So when I'm making these decisions, y'all, I'm kind of consistent with it at this point, because at the end of the day, I need to be able to create content. I need to be able to ramp up the speed of how I deliver that content, automation, right? Even what you see here with the art that we have on this page. Hold on, where's my damn? Here we go. Right here. Even this art is our AI generated art. And now we're even talking about the fact that we're generating our art with AI. Hold on one second. Let me see something. I want to make sure my stream is good. Looks like so. All right, cool. So yeah. Right. So what we're trying to do as a media company, or as a company that has media, music, and we have to get utility out of that music, and we have to create businesses out of the utility from that. So how do we earn? We earn from royalties. It's no different than any other product. But the thing is, royalties is step to step down, and it's come down that you don't need the label to get to the access to monetizing your asset. Companies will find a way to make money off of your asset. It's just going to those companies. And some of these companies that are harping on all you can eat, you can upload as much music as you want, and then they're telling you, oh, but by the way, but if you want your YouTube royalties, you know what? Yeah, you know what? You got to pay for that. No, I want to pay one time because I want to create generational wealth for my family. And to be able to do that with my musical assets, I want a company that when I pay for it, they work it the way they need to work it. Here, I submitted some music to you. Go find for it profitable investment. I will do some work to make sure that I get it out on these streets too. Now you can act like a partnership. Whatever I do with my music, I do with my music. Damn, I chose the wrong chair today. It's going to be creaking all through this video. Sorry about that. So let's start with the fuggery that is our economy. First and foremost is them talking about the CPI, or the consumer price index of a 9.1%, which, come on, you go to the gas station, you felt it. If you've purchased any meat, any beef, if you purchase chicken, there's no way you're not feeling inflation. If you've gone to a restaurant and you've seen not only inflation, or as far as the inflating of the price, but shrinkflation, which is to reduce the reduction of the what you get for meat or for product, the smaller jars, taking a few chips out of a package, reducing the size by X amount of fluid ounces. Hell, going to McDonald's. Like my girl went to McDonald's the other day, got a burger, right? And she left the meat for me to see. And I said, "What is that? That's not the McDonald's bird patty, right?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's like paper thin." I was like, "What is it, smash burgers?" Like, it's ridiculous the amount of size, but the price ain't dropping. No, the price is increasing, but of course it has to increase because you have the transition from human labor to the robotic one, so that they can keep their price points semi decent. How they're going to stabilize their price at some point is the automation of the business. So no, we're not going to have more jobs. We're going to have less jobs in the automaton field of business. It's not to say that there's not work that needs to be done. It's just not going to be physical. There's still going to be the necessary need for people to do and interact with people to be able to sell brands, services, products, subscriptions, whatever. Right? But because we have to go ahead of inflation. And at this point, you cannot believe it wasn't working for me in 2013. I seriously doubt it's working for you now. The reason why I left my last job in New York was because it could not keep up with inflation. My rent was going up to a certain level, and then now I have to buy a car, and then I'm going to have to pay for gas, but you're not going to give me. I'm generating over $1 million worth of cash flow for you with my automation system, and I can't even get a pay raise. I'm out. No disrespect, but I respect my business, and I'm my own business. No matter what employment you get, you're self-employed. You are self-employed. You make a determination to fill out and to put your resume online, right? You made the decision to go ahead and make sure your keywords were on your resume right, and you had all the job notes that you need, like what software they were looking for, how many years in that software, have a gallery or a portfolio of your work or your skills. You then go into that interview dressed the way that you're supposed to look so you don't look crazy. And you answer the questions that you know you need to answer in a way that you know is going to make you look right in their eyes so that you can get in the door. So you know how to be professional enough to capture a job market. Okay, so whenever you decide you need to leave because they are not paying you, you leave. And that is exactly what's been happening. The Great Resignation had started years ago. I watched a friend that was driving me back and forth to work get into a relationship, and then the person she's in the relationship with now is moving to go be with Facebook, but it just got a job out of school. And they were like, "Hey, ain't no loyalty here. We're Facebook. We know you just got the job, but we like your coding. Come over here." Bang, you're gone. So I had already seen it back then. That was 2012, 2011 type beats. So I had already seen that the whole I can shuffle the job market shit was back then, y'all. It's not new. This is not a new phenomenon. They want you to believe that. Did you forget Occupy Wall Street, which was where everybody was on the street? Hold on. Let's go back to this. Did we forget this? Remember these images? Where all of the college kids came out and was talking about the fact that, hey, there's no jobs out here. You done lied to us. The Ponzi was up then. What year was this? What year is this? Hold on. So this is 2011. Again, I told you, right in pocket. Right when I was getting ready to leave New York again. This was going on. The Ponzi was up back here. Smash the like button if you understand what I'm telling you. What we're doing right now, it needed to be done in the first place, which was begin to think in a digital perspective. You have no choice. There's nothing physical for you. They can't stuff all these kids back then, couldn't be stuffed in jobs then. This is why Greece collapsed. This is where we were having all of this came across the entire world. The Ponzi was up in 2011. There was no place for anybody that was in a computerized society to quote unquote go to. Not when the oligarchs still wanted you to go into a damn building. We have our own oligarchs. They control the Senate. They control all businesses. They go to their weirdo summits doing their weirdo things at their weirdo idols and their statues, whatever's. Not my problem. But all I can say is, while they're having times with their costume parties, we were watching an economy collapse. Now, the only gross national product that we have in any country on the planet, I don't give a damn where you are, because in the middle of a jungle, I read an article where a tribe was kicked out of the jungle, and the first thing that they had to do was sing for money. So again, I am telling you, the gross domestic product of every country in the world in this communication age is media. Smashes un liketh button if you understand what the hell I'm putting down. Ever watch Collapse with Michael Rupert? No, but I'm gonna put that immersive. I'll put that on my radar now. I'll take as much information as I can get that can help us move forward, man. For real. Because at this point, I'm done with the cap. Like, they've been SM Zeusing us for years now. The Fed has been doing it since 2001. Heavy. They SM Zeus the entire economy. The Fed is just rolling out monetary digits to keep buying up shit. And I'm going to show y'all in a minute. I got the math on them. They can't lie because they got to put their numbers up. So I'm going to show you that they're still buying shit, though they're quote unquote tightening, which means they're creating inflation when they're saying they're supposed to be bringing it down. And then I'm going to show you how multiple states, 14 at least, are going to be adding more inflation to their rolls. Like, there's no, the cap is over. SM Zeusing, the Fed is SM Zeus, and they've SM Zeus, they're continuing to perpetuate it. But the thing is while they're propping it up, we have an opportunity, right? There's a lot of things broken. And there's a lot of things we have to fix. And there's a lot of things you have to think about for your family, because the truth in the matter is pretty much everything is poison. You've got to be looking at your water supply. You've got to be looking at where you're getting water from. Where is it in your house? Have you tested your own water? Do you have filtration systems? When you start making your money, it's not just about making money. That's what they want you to believe. There is industry in change. There is industry in every single point of the change in our economy. The energy creation we're going to do, because energy is coming down a level for the technology for you to do it. Farming is coming down with the technology for you to automate your farming. I will tell you again, there is an open source platform that has a thing called FarmBot. Open source, for those of you that are not in the development world, means that the code is open for you to read and look at. Bitcoin is open source. You can look at the code and figure out ish. We're going into a revolution where code makes money, machines make money. It's the Internet of Things. They've been warning us for years about this ish. And we keep thinking, oh, it's not going to happen. Okay, yes, it is. Apocalypse Man. I'm going to check it out. Immersive, for real. Right? So, FarmBot. Right? Because what's happening right now, I'm going to tell you, like, this is, we are in the food industry. My girl is a chef. And one of the things that I'm doing, because she can't keep staff, so when you see it in the news, when they're talking about restaurants can't keep staff or whatever, yo, hold on, Philly, this is, I'm going to show you, Philly. Wait, cheesesteak, right? In the news. The original Tony Luke's cheesesteak shop in South Philly to change name. Evidently one of them was closing. Joe's Steaks on Turnside Avenue in Philadelphia. 70 years in business is going out of business. He can't even flip meat no more for profit. because you still need staffing. You still have to go through all this stuff. They stopped the world, right? And kept the energy or the monetary phenomena, which is what money is, right? What's an economy? It's energy. You have to use or do something. Like, I got to be in the field. I have to do something in my field. I created this corn. All right, this corn goes to market. Somebody wants the corn at a specific price. Bang, there you have commerce. Now that person has to figure out how to change his time or take his time or his energy and turn that into a monetary phenomena to buy the corn at the market. That's up to that individual. What we forgot is that we're waiting for somebody else to give us our monetary phenomena, because we're still waiting on jobs to come float to a people. My people, we never had that. We just create new towns. You don't want us here, we move someplace else, and then we create a new town. I'm Sephardic with this. Please go back in history and look at your timeline. Every single place that you got pushed out of, it's scriptured. Every place you was pushed out of, you had to go make swaggy someplace else. And then they got jealous of wherever you went. And then you had to go someplace else. And then you got to go someplace else. Or they drowned you underneath a big ass pond. The cappocalypse, or the Ponzi scheme that is our economy, is over. And everybody knows it. Hence why India, hence why Russia, and a couple other countries have already made a decision to start taking orders for commodities in their own currency. Because at this point, they have to every country has to prop up their own. What do they say? We're no longer exporting this, and this. We need it for our people. And what did we do? Because we were the quote unquote reserve currency, which wasn't even our currency in the first place. We're in this land and we have to fight for every inch on your own damn soil. But that's just the way it's been. So what are ye going to do about it, right? You have to create your own economy at this point. Well, economy at scale has to come down. And it has, which is what we're going to be talking about. So this CPI, the 9%, which we know is a lie, because if you go to shadowstats.com is going to show you that inflation rates are higher to 18, 19%. Inflation rises 9.1% in June, hottest increase in 40 years. But the market hasn't dropped. And there's a reason I'm going to show you. They're lying and saying that they're not propping up this market. The Plunge Protection Team, I can show you exactly when they've been buying ish, because they have to be semi-transparent with that ish. But people don't really look at the numbers and look at it through an objective lens. Inflation soared in June to the fastest rate since November 1981. We're talking Reaganomics type beats. Right before they had to potentially nuke the world with Volcker, raising interest rates like up to 18% or 10% or something like that, and then ramping them up closer to 20%. Just so they can shock the market and kill demand immediately. While now these guys are kind of like tiptoeing through the tulips and trying to use their monetary policy, their tools, which is I'm gonna talk on news stations and then just tell you, hey, I'm gonna throw it a 1%, or excuse me, a 100 basis point, or a 75 basis points, or 50 basis points, right? They just throw these numbers out, and it's supposed to shock and awe people into, or tell the market what they're expecting, so that they go ahead and make the decision to price that in. Okay, well, right now, our inflation rate is at a rate that it needs to be higher, but it's not. And it's not really baked in the collapse of how many businesses who have so much debt and so much leverage. And that collapse is already starting to prove its point in the unemployment rate that's already begun to spike. And that's why this crypto rally is laughable. Let's look at our bank accounts. When you see this rally that we're getting, I'm zooming in. I'm in the Fed, economic data, right? You can see we were sinking in February and March. Our bank accounts were emptying. This is why there was no bump in the stock market, and it was dropping. And then you can see that it started, like the bank accounts are starting to come in and fill in. I'm going to show you where that's coming from. That's not because we were getting better jobs. That's because insiders are still selling off their shares. See, the Fed props up the market. The market insiders can sell off their shares, listening to the monetary policy, and retail, which has been holding this up, buys into the hype, thinking it's the bottom. That's why they have their Kramers. Oh, no, you don't need to sell Lehman's. Stop being silly. Don't sell Lehman's. And then Lehman's falls. See, the game is afoot. The Ponzi is done. Remember, I just told you, Occupy Wall Street in 2011, there was not enough jobs for all the college people coming out. College rolls have 2 to 3 graduating classes a year. Where are the jobs that were going to, to deal with that? They weren't. That's why more and more people are still living at home or having so many roommates. As now we're in a different inflationary period than ever before. Now, as a media person, as a music person, like I was telling somebody in the Discord, I was like, yo, as a rapper, most rappers, most of my homeboys, they have 2 to 3 jobs. They might be working security. They might be working at a bar as a bartender. They might be doing bouncing. They might be, hand to handing. They ain't got a lot of cash flow. So when this inflation hit, they ain't going to have extra money for beat sales. But as the producer in me, I had to figure out a new business model that didn't rely on that. And now I can give my beats to other people for free with my business model, which I'll talk about, and be able to still, hey, go ahead and rap on that. But now if it's playing, my royalties earn on the back end, and I'm not hurting them, which is I'll show y'all in the Discord where myself and, who was it? Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. It was Verbal Artist. We were talking about that. What's going on, Current? All right, so the bank rally, right? So I'm showing you the bank accounts. So it's laughable, this rally that we have right now. And I want to show you something in the Bitcoin charts, right? Because y'all know I keep my eye on the crypto. Now, remember what I told you. Remember these dips, right? I told you. This right here, I moved it because I was looking at the past. And I said, this is when I'm going to be looking for the dip. And this, when did I track this? This was back in June 16th. So this is where we're looking next week, because you can see that's where we are right now. We're looking at next week for a significant drop in crypto, which is going to, again, have another triggered effect of dropping people a lot more further down. We're potentially looking at, what's the next drop point that we'll go back to? Because we go back to purples. So it would be, we get to the 19,000 mark, but if it does not hold, you're looking at 13K. So really, we're looking at going back to 19 by next week. And then, of course, we have a couple more triggered effects for September on the horizon. So that's why I said I'm looking at 13 Coming around the mountain, you've got November dip, which you know is significant. And then our January dip, which you just felt the November of last year when it crashed down, and you felt the January when it went down over here. You can see that. I showed you that here's the November dip that you just felt last year, and here's that January dip when it dropped down here. That's going to happen again because that is the seasons of crypto. Here is the last halving cycle to the 2020 halving cycle start. So what you see over on this chart from here on is this part over here where I moved over to that system over there. But this was the last halving cycle, and it's played out exactly the same way. It's a machine. There's other robots trading on it. It just acts the way it acts. I just show you the colors. Whether or not it plays out, I just always say is a probability. And you've seen my probabilities have, except for like here, because we're at the cusp end of the halving cycle, these probabilities like here and here, they pretty much come to pass. So it's pretty much, you can almost see an 80% win ratio of it potentially hitting, especially significant drop parts. Good looks. So next thing, Fed is still buying. Let me show you the proof that the Fed is still buying up shit. Okay, first, I want to show you that we still have some margin in the game. Margin is credit. So that's credit that is taken out for investments. So let's say if you want to be in the options market or you want to be in certain commodities market, you're going to be on margin. They'll give you credit to be able to make those purchases because you're buying in the future or the past. So they have to give you that credit up front because they don't want it. They want to be able to call it immediately. So you can see we dropped down some, but not a lot. Here's April. Here's May. We haven't seen a significant dump of margin. In other words, margin calls. So when we start cracking some more levels as earnings season, like next week, there's some big earnings numbers that when people consider missed earnings, we'll have a little capitulation drop to the downside. When you're having a crash, it doesn't drop to the bottom fast. It does stutter steps. And that's where we are, the stutter steps of this. So here is the market. This is, again, the Fed. And you can see the spike in 2020 as the checks went out. So this is them dumping money into our bank accounts, as well as propping up the market by buying assets. Boom. Now I want you to see. This is them telling us they were, they're going to, right around here, we're going to start tapering, right? This is when we're supposed to be tapering. Now I want to get real tight on this. Hold on. Damn. There we go. I want you to see something. This is when we're supposed to be tapering. And we're supposed to have stopped. But you notice something? You notice how there's spikes up? That means they bought. Spikes up. That means they bought. We had a drop. Spike up. That means they bought. For somebody that's supposed to be stopping their purchases, they seemingly are not stopping their purchases. They're buying assets, market assets to prop up the market. Asset-backed securities. They are not playing. They're still buying. Like, look here. You can even see a little spike here. July 6th, July 13th. Now, let's see something. Hold on. Let's go to the S&P 500. Right here. And give me my SPY. There we go. And then I want to come over here and see something. Let's look at June 22nd, 2022 and surrounding timelines. June 22nd. Let's go on the day. June 22nd. June 22nd. Some capital went in on June 22nd. Look what happened. Can we say that we're calling them on their bullshit? Okay, let's try again. Maybe that's a, you know what? Hold on. That's coinky dink. That is a coinky dink. Okay. That's June 22nd. Let's see. July. No, let's go back. Let's go here at around May 18th. Let's go to May 18th. Around May 18th. Around May 18th. Then a surge of cash flow up. Maybe that's still a coinky dinky, huh? Hold on. March 16th. Right around March 16th. Are we 3 for 3, y'all? Are we not 3 for 3? At or around the time that it's a spike on this chart, a spike is in the stock market. Stop playing with us. Stop playing with us. Come on, man. This is easy math, yo. This is what I mean when I said there's a Ponzi scheme going afoot. I want you to understand that everything that's propping up, everything that you think you see in this freaking world is bullish. It's puppet, as EJ say. It's the puppet master. It's puppets in the strings, and strings is the Fed. Puppeting corporations, the ones they want to back up these assets to keep this in play long enough to, I don't know what the hell they want. To what? We figure it out for you? This has nothing to do with Democrats, Republicans, or independents. Because none of those, and I don't have any good words to say, so I won't say the words I want to say, starts with a C and has a suckers in it. They are not doing business. They are not really doing an economy. Like, an economy is not a complex thing. I mean, it's complex in having multiple facets to be able to keep, but at the core, a town can create an economy by itself, from its farmers to its businesses. We've proven that. That was Tulsa. When nobody want to mess with us, we do our own thing and we can seemingly survive. Because an economy just means, hey, if I'm a bank, I'm going to invest in people who can give us a return of something and can be profitable. And it's not, it doesn't have to be just physical things. Now we are proven, since Google, that software that was just a spider software, was a hack software to spider the web and scrape it. It's a hacker move. And they digitized the database of it and basically sold it back to corporations at a premium. Stop playing. That's Google. That's the search engine. That's all that is, piracy. Apple, I'm going to lock up all your music underneath this ish and you're going to eat this regardless. Take that, take that, take that. Oh, and by the way, I'm taking 30% on your software. And what? Do some. Build some. And I'll steal it from you, and I'm going to sell it back to you. Facebook, right? They stole from MySpace. They stole from Twitter, the timeline from Twitter. They stole from Snapchat. Come on, man. Apple stole from Xerox. Microsoft stole a piece of operating system called DOS from which wasn't it was they named it DOS, but it was an OS, and they basically bought it for a couple $100,000 and then basically stuffed it down IBM for a couple mil. Biggest deal in tech of its time, and they still maintain the royalties to that. Come on, man. And did it again by swallowing up GitHub. Y'all don't watch history repeat itself. And they got OpenAI, which DALL-E, all that image generation shit, that's Microsoft, y'all. That's why I'm waiting for all the stocks to go down, for all these weirdos to go run around and act stupid. And then I'm going to scarf it all up at the low for the ones that are going to be smashing home-ish. How are you going to be productive? I'm watching Adobe be able to do editing across the cloud. No, that's going to change every way that you're doing business right now. Yeah, I'm going to buy that stock. Microsoft with its AI and its access to integrating it throughout its OpenAI and integrating throughout its entire system. That's going to just optimize business and marketing, media creation just from one centralized location. No, they're going to crush. That's a different business model. And they got gaming coming. Come on, man. This game done change. So I just showed you through this chart that they're propping up the market. They're buying the assets. You can see it in the S&P 500 in that it's spiking within a few notches or days of purchases of this pumping. This is propping the market. And when they're saying they're going to have a soft landing, this is why they're trying to say that they can do a soft landing. Because they're going to stair step the economy down. That's the BS. This is welcome to SM Zeus. Except they can control the SM Zeus to try to stair step this down. But what they're not taking into consideration is the fact that corporations are in already a tight cycle, are going to need capitalization to keep this going, to make more jobs, because if not, they're going to do what I'm doing, which is automate my entire process. As I showed you, this art I can use for whatever the hell I want, and the AI built this. I did this right before I did the show today. While I was writing out my notes, this was generating in the background. Because when it all falls down, this is a cyberpunk city, abandoned. And then I got variations of that until I found a scene I liked, and then the color scheme. All of this was built by AI. I didn't spend 8 hours on it. I generated it while I was working on the notes for this show. That's typically an hour. And I'd have like probably around 25 to 50 graphics. And then I use my own AI, Topaz AI, to blow this up to the size that you see here. And now we're stamping everything. AI generated art. You don't think the news is going to pick up on that sooner or later? As our music videos use the same artwork? This business has changed. You're a media professional now. Unless you got something else going, unless you think you can be a developer. I'm showing you, unless you're an AI, unless you can code AI to write its own AI, you're not going to have a job in the next 10 years. So I stopped worrying about being a developer because I didn't want to learn code like that. And then there's low code, no code, which is what I'm using to build the websites out that I'm working on through Webflow right now. Just because that shit's just been building out faster than when I was doing with Bubble. And then what they're doing here, y'all, they're not even done blowing up the economy. I went and said, I remember I was watching some videos, and I watch like a ton of videos at like 2x speed. And then something clicked in my head, and I was like, yo, they're still printing money. Now, this stimmy that they're doing for gas, I put gas state checks, right? And then I click on the news area. I didn't even click on, I have to click on that actually. I stayed on this. And then 14 states have approved stimulus checks. Okay, here we go. So I want to show you where you're going to still see some inflation. California, Colorado, Delaware, thank you, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Maine, New Jersey, New Mexico, Minnesota, South Carolina, Virginia. If you are one of those states, you're still going to see some inflation, especially at the pump. But you know what? Yeah, if they lock it in that it has to be used for gas, then yeah, you're going to see your gas is still not going to be going down as fast as you think it is. Because now people are going to want to drive more, which would just be perpetual of increasing the inflation on the thing that they're trying to stop the inflation on. Seems silly, don't it? Again, energy costs too much money to do travel. It does not make sense to travel and commute back and forth to a computer. If you are in a physical job, like you work at a gas station, you work at a restaurant, you work at a fast food place, you work at a retail outlet or a supermarket or something like that, physical. You work in nursing, you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a nurse, you're a practitioner, whatever, what have you, where you have to be hands-on physical at location. I get it. Those jobs will still have to do what they have to do. And people will travel that have to travel to do those things. Yeah, I get it. But if you are in a job where you're doing some type of desktop to desktop work, that will not make sense to commute to a computer, especially as internet speeds will begin to get faster at lower and lower costs as they piggyback off of the Wi-Fi 5G networks. It will take a moment in time, but it'll get there. So then we've got our favorite. You're still going to have job losses. NFT marketplaces, so more and more crypto as crypto winter keeps playing out. Like I told y'all, this thing is going to keep crashing until next year, March. So there's still going to be some pain, especially November's dip and January's dip. We still got paineth to come. So you're going to see more and more companies, again, letting go of technical people. And they're not going to be able to run into another crypto company in their quote unquote area unless they're all working remote. And then maybe they'll find some space to get some jobs, but it's going to be hard. Then job losses hit Silicon Valley. Microsoft, Tesla is laying off. This is 2 days ago. U.S. startups and tech companies with job cuts. So a lot of startups are going to be letting go of people, of course, because startups typically have been piggybacking off the most amount of debt, and then they're going to have to let people go. That's what I dealt with in 2016 when I got laid off. When in 2015, I told my girl, "Yo, I just found out that my paycheck is coming from a customer who forgot to turn off their account." Because they forgot they had it. And that's how much basically my paycheck was coming out of that. And then they made sure to cancel. And then I knew the writing was on the wall. I told my girl that December, babe, I think I'm going to get my job lost. I'm going to lose my job next year. And boom, in spring, I lost my job right before summer. So you got to understand that, like I said, 2016, we were already seeing the pullback. What you're seeing now was just what was supposed to happen pre-Rona. Recession fears. We're already in a recession. Been in one. They want to say 2 quarters back to back of negative growth. You see how they're playing that game? Haven't we had negative growth in December? So October, November, December, we had negative growth. So we really could have counted back there, but they don't want to do that. Mm-mm. No, no, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Right? So we got job losses. Job losses are going to mean what? This person that had to commute back and forth to work is no longer going to need their what? Their car. So guess what we're going to then see? You're then going to see repos going up. I just put repo cars in Google search, click on news. Car repossessions are surging. This is 1 day ago. What did I tell you? If I have job losses and I have to commute to said job and I have this car that I just got to get said job, and that car I bought was at a higher price and I was getting able to get these loans that I couldn't afford in the first place because I was getting these checks last year, but now those checks ain't there no more. Well, now I can't afford said car since I just lost said job. That would mean there would be then a spike in repossessions. Bang. There you go. Car repos are exploding 1 week ago. Is anybody else talking about this on the news and media? Are they getting that in there for you? So that you can understand that, wait a minute, maybe we got a little bit more going on. And again, this is the physical dropping off on you fast. So this is why I pivoted to digital. Like, okay, show me where else I can go. Like, I as I put out today to our test, like I give you my data. I'm showing you what I got. So if you got something else, please show it to me. I got no problem looking at it and seeing if I can pivot on it. But meantime, between time, I'm doing all this research. I'm watching economic channels. I'm watching business folk that are way smarter than me explain ish that is way over my pay grade. But as I'm listening to it over and over since November, it's starting to sink in. I'm starting to get a little swag with it now. You know, it's like just like you know, if you're not working out or you don't play basketball, and then you just keep training your crossover, you keep training, you keep training. And after, you may not get to NBA level and get on the court, but you could get down your street and break some ankles because maybe they don't practice as much as you. So for the last few years, I've been practicing how do I make money online. Besides the fact, like, yeah, I had jobs at the time when I was doing that. Again, if you have a job right now, I would be maximizing your hours. You are self-employed. What are you doing with your extra hours a day? You work from 9 to 5 or whatever. I had midnight shifts when I was a security guard, and then I would go to sleep or I'd come home and get right to work after my midnight shift. Just, I know I'm exhausted, but let me go ahead and do this now. I'm going to go to sleep. I can sleep as long as I want. And then if I have time when I wake up afterwards, I can get back to work to finish off a few more things. But then if I have, if I have to get back to, if I sleep all the way till my alarm goes off, then I'm fresh enough to then just get dressed and go to work. And then while I'm there, I was reading my books, studying, because there was no internet like we have right now. I would have been doing that different. I would have been on my phone studying in like the warehouse as a security guard. So if you work in an office, 9 to 5, when I got off of work, I worked from, let's say I got home by, let's say I got home and ate by 7 o'clock, right? So my meal is done. So from 7 to 11, I got 4 hours worth of work. Or if I want to go till 12, I got 5 hours worth of work. Now I can go ahead and say, go to sleep. I'm in bed by, let's say I'm in bed by 1, knocked out by 1:32, be up by 6. I got me 4 hours of sleep. That's basically what I was sleeping anyway. Go to work, rinse and repeat. And then my weekends, Friday night through my entire weekend, rather than partying, I'm at my computer, which is like why my homeboys Ty Durden would always make fun of me, because they'd be like, yo, you're like a robot. You ain't never off your computer. No, I was studying, because I was like, yo, I know at some point there's going to be some way to make money. Besides services, I know there's going to be some way to make a passive string with my catalog. I know this. And it was starting to see it because I started getting Spotify royalties, and the royalties were starting to roll in nice. So I was like, okay, this is something. And if they keep adding things to this, because I started seeing little accounts over here and there, and I was like, yo, if they keep adding to this, I think in time it's going to be big. And then YouTube royalties started trickling in, and then my business started changing. I put up a website, I put up a YouTube channel, and my YouTube channel, ToxicHustle, is not associated with TrajicK, the artist that is uploading music on CD Baby. So I upload my music to the webpage onto YouTube. I have gotten no copyright strikes. I have gotten nothing on that platform that's the test. So I went ahead and tested it. Like, okay, let me put this up here. I'm gonna put TrajicK up here. I'm gonna have other things up here, and then it's basically an account to the side. At the time, I didn't even say I was underneath ToxicHustle. I think I was under Soulphonics Records. So even the albums that are being listed weren't showing. It was no copyrights, no nothing. It is what it is. So then I could use my music. I use my music in multiple things all over the web, on multiple channels all over the web, and there was no copyright strikes. Maybe you get a commercial or something, but you were getting them anyway because everybody was monetizing YouTube. Hold on one second, y'all. Let me put this on. Oops. Mute. There we go. All right. So there's a complete change that's been happening in the digital forefront. And there's no physical for us. There's no physical jobs. They can't create these jobs fast enough because they're looking at their bottom lines because they're worried about their investors. And they ain't really created nothing new, y'all. Like nothing new under the sun. We haven't manufactured-ish really new. Like what new technology is going to be swaggy to come out of here? Like the internet, we did that. All right. Now you create sites. Sites are kind of dying now because people don't even leave TikTok or Instagram or Facebook for that matter. Like these walled gardens locked all these people in and they don't really want to leave their walled gardens. All right. So you had to make business, and then they started making marketplaces inside their gardens. So now you've got to infiltrate their gardens even further to get any of that visibility. While in some regards, if you're looking at what's going on in the blockchain space, you've got this opening that's happening for where in the future, your content really can make money for you. But like I said, before we can even get there, we have to get Web 2.0, all the social media to make sure that and Web 2.0 includes PayPal, going to a website and that website makes you money, or going to Stripe and that Stripe account can make you money, or having Venmo making you money. So that's all Web 2.0, the interaction between individuals, person to person sales. Web 1.0, hey, we've got a web page. Web 2.0, hey, we can do transactions together. We can interact together. Our communication is faster. We got InstaChat on the web. Communication, all of this was to speed up communication. Well, now we've got communication licked. Now we're just trying to get the monetary side of the communication so that we don't got double spend, which means you shouldn't spend the same dollar twice. It should not be counted twice. There should be no double spend on our ledger. That's blockchain. And then you can start putting contracts or code or APIs or automated low code transactions to APIs that interact with blockchains to be able to write applications that can scale through the chain or write directly to chain. But we're not there yet. We still got to get commerce now. So the change in media is already here. Now it's about looking at what you do as a business. So part of that, let me show you my CD Baby royalty hustle. I've done this a few times, but I want y'all to be able to understand this. Give me a second while I log in. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, boom, 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 hey, hey. Hey. All right. So check this out. Check it out. Chow. All right. So what we got here is the total royalties that have been coming in from the back end, right? So, like when I tell you that ToxicHustle is a research company disguised as a media company, I'm not trying to like blow smoke. I'm being real sincere about that. I've spent time just focusing on myself as a product and saying, okay, this product is uploading material, and even this like dead wrong was a test. Me using a beat, I think it was by Beats by Jake or something like that, Jake Beats or something like that. A song that was done with Memphis Bleak. Well, not Memphis Bleak. Freeway. It was a Freeway song. I want to take that beat and see what would happen if I Shazammed it and did all this other stuff. What would show up? And sure enough, my music didn't show up. It showed up first as his instrumental, second Freeway, and then until I made sure the sample was right where my hook was, then I would show up. So heads up, if you want to have Shazamable content, be sure where you're cutting you're making your edits. Make sure you make your edits close to your hook. So if you have to have a 30-second cut or a 60-second cut, make sure your hook starts the cut. So you start with your hook, so you're locking in your signature, and then it fades into your verse. So I typically do the second verse. So it'll be like the hook to the second verse, or if you have the hook at the beginning of your song, then it'll be your hook to your first verse, and then fade out. Right? So there you go. That's how you then create your 30-second window and your 60-second window. And then you can put that to any 30-second spot or 60-second spot, media spot you want to put on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. That can be, you can sit there and do motivational quotes, right? And then just have the music playing in the background. Message. All right. So as you can see, dead wrong, even though I have my sample elsewhere, has generated that on its own since it's been out, which is not bad for a single. Like, think about that. How many people can sit there and say, I made $300 on a single? Like, I put out one song, y'all ain't never really heard of me. I ain't in a whole bunch of playlists or SM Zeusing myself for none of that shit. I'm just slowly but surely just grinding along, getting myself prepared so that when I'm like the ideas that have taken years for me to formulate, now I can execute immediately. Well, now everybody gets to execute at the same level as me because I want you to. Right? Which is why I tell you, make sure you're on this platform. I don't get paid by them. I'm not hired by them. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not affiliated. I get no cash from them. The only reason I tell you, oh, CD baby, is because I am consistent in, hey, if a business model makes sense, I pay once, right? The thing I hate about the other places was what happens if my bank account crashes out? My subscription crashes out. Well, now my music could disappear off platforms. Bang. I'm ruined. It's not earning anything for me. Everything I worked up for is now gone and disappeared. Now, with what this company has done, they upload and they're going to find profitable investment for it. They're going to take their percentages out. What do I care? If they get 30% of my YouTube views, I wouldn't even have gotten that in the first place. Have at that 30%. You're like my manager, but you're better. All you do is just get me money. I don't have to pay you for any extra ish. Right? It's typically 20% for a manager. So they are like my management fee. So they're like my distributor and not manager, but they manage my catalog. They find places for it to make money. So if you look at the numbers, CMS publishing, YouTube, music sale, YouTube, Spotify sale, YouTube music sale, 18 cents. Like, this is better royalties than any of the other royalties I have. And the thing I showed in Discord, which I'll show you here. COD. ToxicHustle Pro. Let me show y'all CD Baby data. I'm gonna be updating the CD Baby data soon. I'm working on the robot to be able to scrape it from the website, since it has to come out as a CSV file. So I'm gonna start getting that data in, so it'll be more consistent. I still haven't updated this, but anyway, it doesn't change, because you pretty much see that I'm still getting entries for YouTube content ID and the CMS publishing, right? And then YouTube music sale. So again, here you go. YouTube music. So that's the YouTube music sales. Then you've got CMS publishing, and you've got your content ID. As I was telling my homeboy Johnny, which I posted in the Discord, that's why I sent it to, because we were on a phone call at the time. And I was like, I want this green to start taking over this yellow. And then if you look at the royalties coming from content ID sale, 21 cents, like, yo, I'm focused on that. Like, I'm focused on that. So here's my math that I was putting out in the Discord, right? If we scroll up in the Discord, bong, chicka, bong, bong, right? Let's go up here. So with my business model, the way I did it and the reason I did it was this. So let's just keep it simple, right? Because I barely got out of high school. So I was like, yo, please apologize. Please remember, I'm barely out of high school. I was a class clown. And a smart ass. It's just a sad me. So I chose, so let's say I choose an instrumental, any instrumental out of my beat catalog, right? And because they're inside CD Baby, I'm already earning for that. So I get all the fingerprints. So basically they digitize your stuff, they fingerprint it, and they just earn royalties off of that. So let's say I target one streamer. So I find somebody online that gets about 1,000, every stream that they do, they get about 1,000 views on that, right? And then with that 1,000 views, they do 3 times a week. Well, that's 3,000 potential streams a week. Take those 3,000 potential streams and you multiply that by 4 weeks a month. You get 12,000 potential streams a month. You take those 12,000, you multiply those by 12. That's 144,000 streams. That's one person. If you, for a whole year, kept flooding him with doper intros that kept him wanting to keep using your music. See what I'm saying? So it's not like, hey, I'm just going to give it to you once and disappear. It's like, hey, I got a new one for you. Hey, I got a new one for you. Hey, I got it. So I needed a system. Hello, what I'm building over here. I have a system that I can have these interactions and relationships with clients that don't even know they're clients, but I'm tracking when the last time I did work for them and making sure that I'm alerted on my back end through my automation system, N8N, like I showed y'all. So I'm notified, hey, it's time to create another project, or automatically put a project on my timeline, reminding me it's time to do a new one for this customer. So now I can proactively give them new intros and give them new music with my intro. See what I'm saying? So when you see the math I'm talking about, it's not a one and done. It's I'm going to take the responsibility of trying to lock down a relationship with one streamer that I'm consistently making their intros and outros. Number 2, then you go 10 streamers that you're currently doing this for. So this is where, again, why I'm scaling video, while I'm figuring out how I can scale my video production. That is a whole nother business model. So I already know how to do that. I figured that out already. I'm going to show y'all in ToxicHustle Pro how that actually pans the hell down. But I'm actually going to be building a rendering system specifically for being able to generate intros and outros for clientele. And I'm going to be shuffling back and forth through them. So let's say now I can manage 10 streamers. If I have 10 streamers that are doing 3 videos a week, that's 30,000 potential streams a week. 30,000 streams times 4 weeks, that's a month. That's 120,000 potential streams a month. 120,000 times 12 months, that's 1,440,000. 440, 140, 440,000 140,000 $1,140,000 potential revenue streams. And then if I have again then 100 streamers, you can do the math. It ends up being like 300,000 potential streams to 1 million potential streams to 1 million potential streams a month, then times 12 months gives you 14,400,000 potential streams a year. Now, again, this is, I know sounds like crazy talk, but I just want you to see that I'm systemically getting my utility out of my musical assets. Systemically, I create a system that you can be able to generate a consistent outcome. Will I see more visibility on my content that's already watermarked if I just give it away? Who is the best people to give it away that it guarantees that I'm going to get consistent plays? It might not be a rapper, and I'm a rapper. I'm an MC. So when I say anything about, hey, producers, don't rely on me, don't take it like I'm being negative. I'm saying, as a rapper, I'm sorry, I'm broke. And I might not be able to afford your beats. And I know I beg for beats. But damn, that's why I became a producer. So I wouldn't have to do that. And then you lost me. Because I could just go make my own damn beat. And have all my exclusives. And do all the other stuff that you could be doing too. So then I changed my business model, because now it's like, well, then every producer can do this. If a producer who's wanted to MC, but was like, well, I can't make money that way, I have to make money on the production side. Yeah, but you're trying to still sell it to artists. How does your music actually get its money? Ask the guy that created Annie Up, because it's still on car commercials. It was at the grocery store. Like they used it for like Kroger. Annie Up. Even what you call it? Like a bunch of independent dudes I know are making plenty money off of being able to do something similar to that by putting it on like Audio Jungle, and then when they put it on Audio Jungle, their stuff is being used in commercials, and then they're piggybacking off of that with their royalty stream. So like this business model can grow, and that's kind of what like a lot of the training on Toxic Hustle is going to be about, is kind of locking this down in a workflow that you can just kind of like step by step it. Like here's a checklist, go through this checklist, and this is kind of like an album release or a single release. And here's a checklist to go through your album release. And here's a checklist. Like it's not gonna carbon copy it out, but it gives you a workflow to get things done. And that's kind of what I need. I need structure. And so for me to have structure in what I want to accomplish and feel accomplished, I need I need a blueprint. And I kind of like make my robots do that for me. So like how I get my shows done is kind of like I write these automation scripts that like launch shit for me and do shit for me. So I don't have to remember, well, I got to do this and do this. And this is the same shit over and over that I got to do. Like launch this application and this application and this application. No, I write a macro, and that macro launches them all. And I don't have to worry about that. Opens my stuff from my screens and keeps my screen active for me by moving the mouse back and forth every 30 seconds. Simple-ish like that. Like everything can be workflowed for you. So what I'm doing now with why I'm doing these numbers. Oh, and a good question came up. Shout out to Verbal Artest, was asking about, and he's like, when you collect YouTube streams, won't it prevent the streamer from monetizing their content? If so, why would they use the music? I think I'm missing something here. But when I use someone's music in my vids and they have content ID, then they get the money from that video instead of me. Now, you're already sharing advertising. And that's, I told him it was a great question. Because if you look here, I went on to CD Baby and I pulled up their information. And I left the link in the Discord. You can see the link right here. So you can actually go see it yourself. And this highlight is what this text is this highlight that's here. YouTube content ID earnings. YouTube ads are similar to Google ads It essentially an ad placement auction. The amount you earn for each clicked ad, while small, vary to a number of factors, so it's difficult to make predictions. The bottom line is the more people who watch videos that contain your music, the higher the probability of clicked ads. The more ads, the more you earn. When do I get paid and how much? YouTube reports ad revenue to CD Baby on a quarterly basis. You earn 70% of the revenue generated from the usage of your music on YouTube and Facebook/Instagram. CD Baby keeps 30%. So again, that's why I said that there's new partnerships. If you look at this now, like I said, YouTube, if you look at the channel, let me duplicate this. ToxicHustle's channel itself, this channel, I've put the music on this channel. If you go to the playlist, I've found the YouTube links for our music, and I've made sure, here, indie. So this is all the music that is already in ToxicHustle. I mean, on YouTube. So all of these tracks from my homeboy Ty Durden, right? All of these tracks get us royalties off rip. So this channel was not associated with TrajicK, and I've gotten no physical strikes, no copyright claims, nothing on my music because they're a partner and we're earning on the ads that are generating. Right? So this is more of a partner gang than anything else. So it's not like those other companies where they watermark and then they basically make it very greasy and gringy. This same strategy can be worked on Facebook. And again, you can make a meme video, you can make motivational quote videos, put your music behind them and put them out. If somebody shares it, guess what's happening? Right? You know what I mean? You can put shit out for anime, you can put stuff out for video game contests, you can put it on for online gameplay replays, you can put it on for manga highlights, you can put it on for whatever. Put your music behind it, create a shorts channel on YouTube and pump it. Right? Get utility out of your music, and that's the biggest thing. So the mini overview I'm giving you, this overview is an overview of my overall hustle, is that when you see the fact that this right here for 2022, 2023, my concentration is on my YouTube royalties. Why? Because my YouTube royalties are generating the most amount of cash flow. And they have currently, year to date, the most amount of views year to date. So this overall is the total music revenue that I've earned as an artist. And I'm going to now want it to look closer to this, which would mean I'm going to generate a sizable larger increase of cash flow. So what does that mean? The revenue that I'm earning from the royalties that are coming in from my music are now going to be stored in a bank account. That bank account's going to get a trading account, and that trading account's going to be managing that money. And this model is no different than every single record label on the planet. They take your catalog, give you a loan, call an advanced, right? Then you can only get X amount of revenue while it's sitting. You don't get royalties for like the first 6 months, right? And then the first 12 weeks of whenever your album launch, the first anywhere 6, 12, 18 weeks, you don't even get full royalty rate, which is when you get the most exposure for that album and the most downloads and views of everything. So you're not even making full royalties. So if I'm already going to be making pennies on the dollar because we went from selling CDs to streaming music, well, the cuts are already low. So why do I need a 90% overhead and me making micro payments? And then they take those royalties that they're earning. You don't earn, but you're not even making a portion, even full royalty rates yet. And then by the time they're giving you that revenue, it's in a bank and they've got an investment on it. And that investment is earning residuals, interest payments. And they're treating like, so you, let's say they made $10,000 on it. Well, it sits in a bank and it earns interest. That interest that they earn on it doesn't go toward the capitalization of you paying back that quote unquote loan. This is the game that they've been like slapping us in the face with. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, why do I need you in my pocket like that? If your job is to get me eyeballs and ears, right? That's the only job the record label has. Back then they had what? The radio stations, their relationships with the radio stations, the payola behind the scenes for the radio station. That's ears. That's all ears. Nothing more than ears. And then eyeballs, MTV, and anything dealing with TV, like being able to take your content and maybe put it to an ad and get it circulating, and you'll get some royalties from that. So visually putting it to a commercial and or having it on MTV so they can see your actual music, to maybe they can come to a show, because where you actually made money was your show or any merchandise. So if now I can't really get concerts because, you know, they're shutting down everything anyway. They weren't really wanting hip hop in these clubs as much as they were before, not the kind of street hip hop we do. Then, and if that's going to be a problem, and then of course we got to worry about the artist. I don't want somebody shot because somebody got mad or whatever. So you put yourself in harm's way. So if you can minimize that, that's dope. All right. So you got the liability of losing acts. And then if you've got, you know, they got to go to club to club to club. Let's say if you go to club to club to club, how many people are in the club that night? Let's say you can get 40 to 50 people in the club. Those are the only people that heard your music for the evening. So if you look at it, you're going to have to get X amount of people to, this is before internet, X amount of people to be able to hear you, to maybe you get 1% transaction or a 1% conversion on somebody's buying a CD the night you did a show at a bar someplace. So 1%, maybe even 2% of the people that are there might buy your CD or tape. That was the business. Now we're talking about, well, there's nothing to buy. I'm not selling you a CD or a tape. You're streaming it. So I just need the and you're not buying it. Ask it, when did you buy? When was the last time you bought a 99-cent music? Right? When did you buy a song? Most people are just streaming it now. So really, the point of it is at, hey, I'm paying to just use your product. You'll get a commission on the transactions that happen with that. Now, that's why I like the fact that, hey, here they take 30%. That's cool. Leaves me the rest. I got 70% of my assets still in my hand. That's not bad. That's not a bad conversion. Them doing all the work, getting me profitability, then only thing I've got to do is find more utility for my music to generate those ads. Now, can't I create a YouTube channel that can now garner certain keywords to be able, for when my music plays there, the ads that show up on that site are going to be significantly monetarily beneficial to the company, i.e. ToxicHustle, i.e. creating a video game channel, i.e. creating a anime channel, anime highlight channel, right? Manga anime highlights. Put my music behind that, royalties. Create an environment where multiple people are doing the same thing as me, and I've got access to be able to get your URLs. I add it to the system downloads those tracks. Those tracks can now be part of our catalog that goes out, because y'all are all following the same model and a part of the team. Automation, scale. So when I say 1,000, 100,000, I'm saying, look, I'm not going to make all of these tracks. I can't do all that music myself. Let me create an environment where the data, this system, has all that data. Same system major corporations are using, Coda. Right now, major corporations are using this back-end system to manage their entire business. So will I. And so can you. You can do it on your own. Coda.io. Coda.io. It's right up there. Everything hooks into APIs. You just got to learn APIs and learn some JavaScript, learn some automation with N8N, either use their cloud service or learn how to spin up your own instance. Like I did. I spun up my own instance. I will leave instructions in ToxicHustle Pro. Everything that ToxicHustle's doing will be part of ToxicHustle Pro. Straight up. If people are interested in it, they'll join. If they don't, they don't. It's cool. But you're gonna have the access to the info, regardless. So that's my digital distro is this. Like for the rest of this year, starting in August. I want to say that the end of August. I'll be back in the studio music-wise the end of August because all of the membership stuff will be finished. Shopping is already put into the website. I'm already beginning to build the back-end pages, which I can, for transparency, hold on. I can show y'all better than I can tell you. Hey, where are you? Hold on. Where are you? There we go. Yesterday, the 15th, membership began. I started working on the membership area for ToxicHustle Pro. Also working on the training resources that I'll be building out. There'll be some videos back here for clips of MG the Future's videos as well, because some of those clips are leading into hacks that are getting songs done. So it's kind of like, hey, here's where I learned this stuff from MG. I'm not going to teach this all over again. Here's the clip of it, what I'm using and what I'm doing. And this way, all the stuff that I'm building out is based off of some of the hacks he's doing. And then, of course, I'll build my own mini hack videos that will end up repurposable for some of the content that I'm doing. All right? Boom. Boom, y'all. Let me go here. And where's my... There it is. My music royalty utility hustle for 2022, 2023. So I kind of already laid out most of it for you, which is once I start getting my music rolled out, I will be getting, like right now, this week actually begins me creating content of getting a single complete and rolling that out. That's going to be one of the first training resources that's going to be behind the scenes for ToxicHustle Pro. Will be just me giving you the entire step-by-step for how this song gets created, because that's pretty much going to be rinse, wash, repeat for how an album gets done. But you add more songs to that album, but then it'll be mixing that album together, song selection as far as like organizing the song structure and for album structure. So like it's not just throw a whole bunch of songs in there. There's actually a process that I use to be able to kind of control the energy of the packaged album. Then there'll be, well, for this, it'll be creating the song, packaging it up, getting it out for distro and utility. So how to get utility out of that one song, because the song it's being created for the specific purpose to be used for a couple catering companies, for a couple catering clients. This is going to be one of like maybe 5 to 6 songs that are going to be shot out on an instrumental album that are going to be shot out to be part of clientele cash flow. So using the instrumental to be able to generate royalties, those royalties that are generated will help get the album that I'm working on done. So as this revenue is being generated now off the instrumentals, I'll be able to use that revenue and the robots trading on that, giving me capitalization to be able to say I can either use some of that capital to be able to have pay some money for mixing and mastering to speed up the process, especially if I'm giving the instructions or my blueprint or methodology of how I'm using isotope neutron to mix songs in a faster manner. Again, I can spend 8 hours to 10 hours mixing a song. I've done that. I did it for 2 albums on my own and multiple albums for friends and multiple singles for clients. I'm not doing that no more. I don't got time like that no more. And if I have something that can assist me, no different than if you look at any major music producers, they or engineers, they have an assistant. The assistant knows how the setup needs to be, gets it to stage one for that for the main engineer, and then the engineer sits down and just starts pushing faders. But it's already set up for them. Now it's like, hey, certain macros, certain templates can already have everything hooked up for you, or you have a workflow that you can just hit shortcuts to get your shit accomplished, or vice versa. You can sit there and have like automation that can at least get your processing and your mixing and mastering to stage zero for you. So instead of a human doing it, I'm using Neutron and of course isotope ozone for the potential finished product. I will be looking at some cloud-based mastering before I 100% lock in and say this is going to be the complete methodology, but we'll see. But again, AI is going to take over a majority of content creation as far as the manifestation of content. Not so much the creation process of me having a song in my head and getting it out. It's not going to be AI doing that. It's not going to be me running a bunch of AI scripts to get some weirdo music that I have to try to conform into some shit. No, I'm going to take the music out of my head fast using my methodology, which I'll also show you, as well as show you how mixing singles, how to then shape albums, how to then mix and master those albums, get them finalized, getting your artwork for your CDs done, what you need to accomplish to get your stuff for ready for distro, getting your stuff out for distro, then the marketing process of how you begin to first launch and market the product itself, and secondarily, how to then build out utility for the album you just set up. And that's going to be, again, all part of ToxicHustle Pro's plan as we build it out. It's not going to be like day one that's going to be there. That's impossible. But what I will be doing is as we build out content, content derives instruction. So we're screen recording everything on the back end. I can't stream it yet, but we will be screen recording everything so that I can then put it and upload it and get it out. So I've been working on the process to speed that up. And that will also, once we have that lockdown, be part of a course to be able to get media content rolled out in a faster way for your channels and your media companies. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what I wanted to show y'all today. I wanted to at least show you how we're doing some of the stuff that we are doing, why we're doing what we're doing. The understanding that, hey, look, all the bullshit you're hearing, the inflation numbers, the job numbers, none of that crap matters because they're all lies. When I got unemployed, I was on the employment roster for 11 weeks. After that, I dropped off the rolls. It didn't mean I got a job. It meant I dropped off the rolls. That's it. I was lost in the system. I was no longer cared about. I had to figure out how to make money to survive. I did client work, service work, whatever I could do to get money. They weren't checking for nothing I was doing except for if there was any at the tax time, which would be, the following year, April. Then they could have a spike in data to say this is what happened to this individual because they paid taxes and we couldn't take nothing from them because he was barely surviving. That is the Bobo. There is nothing. They've got nothing. They've got no businesses. They've got no and retirement. They've got no, there's no retirement. Pensions are getting dried up. And some of these pension funds, y'all, were tied to some of these cryptocurrency companies. I want you to understand, check for your grandparents. If you've got elder statesmen in your life, elder family members, check on them, please. Because during collapses is when you're going to start seeing suicide rates. There's people losing hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of their retirement. There's a website now where elderly people are putting out to look for roommates. because they can't survive. Like, think about that. Your grandparent who can barely be on the internet is asking for a roommate from a stranger. That's what I mean. Just keep abreast, keep an eye on folks, man, and take care of each other, because nobody's taking care of us right now. Create economies within your cipher, their circle. Like, do you know people that MC? Well, if I'm showing you how you can turn your music into some form of capitalization, then can't you see how you can begin to use the talent around you to be able to expose other people to that sound? Especially if it costs you nothing but time. That's what we're working with. You take time to earn money. You flip time into cash flow, energy into monetary sustenance. That's the only way it works. Be fruitful and multiply. You have to toil from the fields type beats. Right? To be able to, you to bear fruit. You got to work to bear fruit. That's me trying to figure code. Hold on. I'm trying to find my other screen. So, again, don't expect, if you have hopium thinking that the stock market's going to miraculously shoot the hell up and save investments, it's not. I've been shorting the market, as I showed you in the last video. I've been shorting the market since January. I have not moved my shorts, and I'm not touching them. Nothing in the landscape has changed. And as somebody that writes automation systems, nothing is going to change, because the physical nature of people working for money does not make sense in a machine-driven, API data-driven world. And the faster that they figure that shit out is the faster that we can actually have a gross domestic product, GDP, that's on the positive side of life again. We have no GDP because we're not building anything. We're not manufacturing anything. We're not creating anything. Well, guess what? The only thing you can create is right now is intellectual property. Property from your intellect. Which means, are you writing something to earn residuals, like selling an ebook on Amazon? You can use a website like CreateSpace. This is a company that works directly with, it's owned by Amazon. So this company I'm showing you, don't go buying some bullshit from somebody that tells you can print on demand, Kindle publishing, Amazon Media on demand. You get access to how they produce content, ebooks, all that on the back end. This is your digital publishing for any books you want to do. Do you have a story? Do you think you could create some type of digital book that hooked into video and sound and create, like, who knows? There's plenty of ideas. Do you have a cookbook? Do you have an autobiography? Do you have a story you've written? We have to get back to the manufacture of actual stuff. We have to get back to creating actual things. Like, Lord forbid, we have a physical, real economy. Trying to get my damn other screen up. Sorry. There we go. So, I ask y'all, oh, sorry. Put this back up. So, I'm asking y'all, do what you got to do. Get your businesses situated for the transition into deeper digital. begin to really focus on how your business makes money. You can do service. Make sure you have your debit cards, your PayPal debit cards. Yes, the entire world can collapse. Okay. Yes, the internet can shut down. Yes. Okay. I get that. But if it does, then everybody will then have to pivot and figure out a physical thing. So meantime, between time, take your digital thing to give you enough cash flow for physical things that might matter in the future, like real estate as it begins to fall down, as uh, maybe corporate offices, so that you can have a business that you can write off, even though you can do that from your own home. So you really don't need to buy a physical warehouse for that, unless you want to build things there to generate energy. So begin to think about, like, look, water treatment, energy creation. I know it sounds crazy, but you need to start thinking about how do you create other things. Like, look, there's this whole thing about carbon credits. Businesses are doing carbon credits. That's also energy credits. So if you can get a battery, and I've been looking at sodium ion batteries over lithium batteries. And then if you got sodium ion batteries that can store your energy, if I have Raspberry Pis or other small form factor machines that are doing work for me in an automated way, I can now guarantee the energy for that and not have to worry about a grid or some government telling me I need to turn off my power. Tell them from the back, right? So think about that. Start thinking about how you can take your businesses to create media, get utility, you're earning your revenue, earn on that, generate systemic interest, right? Being a moneymaker or putting it in the Vanguard World Fund, right? And the Vanguard World Fund ETF, which gives you access to everything. Like I know Panasonic's making these ion batteries. If I go on the World Fund, I get access to Panasonic. So literally, that is what I'm going to be buying into. Like I said, as the market goes down, I'm getting my VT World Fund gang going. And I'm going to be stacking because even dividends come out of that. So just start thinking about, how you invest, who you're working your money with. At the end of the day, you've got to be earning on your dollar. It's not just about making money. It's also creating consistent streams of cash flow, multiple streams of cash flow, and then taking some of that cash flow and 10% of it being on a market trading. Like money maker, being a market maker. And that's going to be the next thing I showed y'all in my video. So I'm going to get cracked out. I've got some stuff to do. I'm gonna start working on finishing off this the membership backend for ToxicHustle. Also getting my account, my profile set up so I can start putting these tutorials in the system so that y'all can get access to it hopefully by next week. So y'all be safe out on these streets, please. Don't go out on these roads, road raging. They busting shots. Even shorties are busting shots. So please be careful, my peoples. And I will holla at you another day.